Hi, welcome back to the 30-day novel writing challenge. I've not started yet. I'm going to call this day 0, or we could call it Nano Eve. I'm not even sure. I'll think of some title for it anyway. So hi, welcome back to my channel. If you watched my video yesterday, then you know I've decided to write a novel in 30 days. And when I say write a novel in 30 days, write from word 1 to publishing it. But I thought I would talk a little bit about the book and what I'm going to be writing beforehand, because I know a lot of people are curious as to other writers' processes. So I'm going to just share a little bit of mine with you. Now I will warn you that if you plan on reading my book, there are probably going to be spoilers in these videos, just because, I don't know, there probably will be spoilers in these videos, so just be a bit cautious if you do want to read my book at the end. So I am writing a new genre. I am going to write British crime because I like reading it and it's really enjoyable, and I generally write urban fantasy and they all kind of have a mystery. So this is kind of similar in that way, except there's no magic and I can't just poof somebody out of there and save the day kind of thing like I can in my urban fantasy stories. Not that I do, but so the genre is going to be a British crime, and it's going to be set within the northwest of England because that's where I live, and it's going to be following our character DCI Alex Rogan. So I want to talk a little bit about the tools I'm going to be using. So I write in Google Docs. I write in Google Docs just because it's so much easier to be able to go from device to device, because I write on my MacBook, I write on my computer, I write on my iPad, I edit on my phone while I'm on the go. And so Google Docs allows me to do that because it's cloud-based and I just log in and the document's there. But it also means that while books are being written, other bits can be edited by editors at the same time, and it, you know, for me it's just easy and allows that kind of access. So that's my first tool, is I'm going to be writing in Google Docs. I'm going to also use an app called Be Focused. It's an app on my MacBook. I have it set to 20 minutes. So I talk a lot about using writing sprints, the Pomodoro method, within my writing process. It's just how I write. I've found my sweet spot for writing is 20 minutes. So I'll do 20 minutes on and then a 10-minute break. And I usually I'm going to aim to do 6 of those throughout the whole of this challenge. Now, I am a fairly fast writer, so please don't get hung up or compare yourself to my numbers, because everybody's journey is different. Whatever your journey is, it is amazing and brilliant and perfect. And this is my journey. So within a 20-minute writing sprint, I can usually write about 1,000 words. So if I do 6 writing sprints, that's 6,000 words. And that's kind of usually my goal. So the word count total for this story is I'm going to aim for about 60 or 70,000 words. I'm probably going to aim for 60. I'll probably hit 70 because I'm a little bit of an overwriter with story and plot, not too much. So I am not particularly a plotter. I don't have all the big charts. I don't really have index cards with all this in-depth stuff on it. I don't do a lot of these things. Plotters do, and I hate to say that they're plotters because every single story you ever write has a plot. But yeah, a planner. I don't, probably is the best word, but we'll use plotter for now. But I don't plot out, have this in-depth plot. I'm not a heavy plotter, and there's no reason for that. This is just a natural process that I've fallen into that works for me. I'm probably more of a discovery writer, or some people call that a pantser. I kind of have the idea of the first act of the story, so I kind of write in the 3-act structure, and I'll have like the first act of the story ready, and then I'll just let it go from there. And I have an idea of where the ending is, but that can change. It depends how the story goes, and that is just how I like to write. So I can't really sit and show you all these in-depth plotting tools that I have that I'm going to use, because literally I have some notes that I've jotted down on my characters and the crime and the victim, and that's it. And it's scribbled, and you probably wouldn't make much sense of them. So, but I will try and talk a little bit about my pantsing process as I go along. I just find I have a lot of fun if I'm discovering the story as I write it. Kind of like, it's almost like I'm a reader with the story, and so it's just super enjoyable. So I will try and take you through the process as it happens. So the things I do know about my character, and this is going to be the spoiler, is he's called DCI Alex Rogan. I did have another name for him. I was toying with the surname of Fox, but reading a lot of British crime, and any kind of crime book actually doesn't even necessarily be British, they're often referred to by their surname. So I wanted a good surname that I would like, that kind of like is his main name. And I think I liked Rogan. It's like a really good name. So he's DCI Alex Rogan. And I wanted to give him some depth and a personality in life, because and I won't share the book I've been reading because it's not fair to the author. I'm never going to slate anyone else. So I recently was reading a couple of British crime books, because obviously I've been preparing. That's my preparation, is I'll read books in the genre and kind of like try and internalise the structure. So I've read a couple of British crime novels and they've been missing something for me, and it took me a while to figure it out, but it's the depth of the main character of the DCI. So their main character has been their DCI, and you know, at the end of one of the stories we knew nothing about him. I knew his name, I couldn't tell you his age, I couldn't tell you where he lived. I could tell you his marital status, but I didn't know if he had children. I didn't know what his relationship was like with his wife. And I didn't really know anything about him. And I could feel that through the story, that there was just something missing. And I realised it was knowing the main character. And so the author focused very much on the crime and untangling that crime. But I never really got to know the victim in depth. And I know the mystery is the main thing, but I think the meat around it has to be the character. So in my little bit of preparation, I've been planning Alex out and his life. So he is going to be a single father. He's in his 30s. His wife has died. This is where the spoilers come in. He's got a little girl. I'm not really sure on her age yet. That will probably just be decided as I jump right in it. I'm not sure if his sister lives with him or he lives with his sister. She's kind of like an artsy, free at home type, so she helps a lot with looking after his daughter, because he's a detective, so he has this really demanding job where he's in and out. Obviously most detectives work 9 till 5, but things happen, and I've given him a snooty, domineering mother who he kind of is always at odds with, and that is to give him the conflict in his life. She thinks she is the best person to care for his child, and he doesn't want that because, you know, it's his daughter. And so just by creating these things for Alex, I already feel like I know him more than in the couple of books that I just read that I wasn't happy with. So yeah, so this is my kind of like preparation. So what I am, it's probably going to be all over the place, I'm really sorry. I kind of like talk in riddles and go around the houses all the time, and it's a really bad habit. But so I'm going to write British crime. I'm going to write the story of Alex Rogan. It's with the idea that it's set up for a series to follow DCI Alex Rogan. So there's going to be aspects of his life developing as he goes through. The case that he's working on will be solved by the end of the story. My goal is to write 60 to 70,000 words, with 60 kind of being my actual target, with the allowance of an extra 10,000 at the end. So as I say, I'm going to write this in 30 days. Now, the way I do write, because as I said, I'm not a plotter, I'm a discovery writer, is I write a double draft, and this is just the way I work. I've never really heard anyone else do this that I do, but what I will do is I write a chapter, rough, completely, don't fix typos, it's full of red lines, it looks like I've typed it with my eyes closed while my cats run across the keyboard, it's that terrible, and I print it off, I delete everything on my screen and copy it back up. And that's just the way I found works amazingly for me, because what I find is when I write my first chapter, I will write this really rough 1,000 words that makes that looks awful, and then when I retype it up, that 1,000 words might turn to 2,000 or 3,000 words, and this happens all the time. It's like I have to spew out the skeleton of a scene or a chapter and then retype it with all the meat and the body on it, and that's just how I work. So while I'm aiming to write 60,000 words, what I'll actually write across the 30 days is about 120,000 words, which equates to, because I want to get this done in 3 weeks, so there's time to edit, about 40,000 words a week over 3 weeks. So that's 21 days, which basically is 5,500 words per day, which fits in perfectly with my writing sprints. 6 writing sprints, 20 minutes per sprint, and I can do these sprints any time in the day. I just need to do 6 a day to get my word count in. And I know what one of the considerations is that somebody may ask is how I do this. So sometimes I will write the whole day sprints as rough scenes and chapters, and then day 2 will be retyping those words, and then day 3 will be the next lot of rough, and day 4 will be the retype. I'm not really sure how I'm going to do this because I tend to play it by ear. Sometimes I will write 10 scenes that are all rough, and then I will go back and I will retype them all and let the story develop through that. Sometimes I will do one chapter, retype that chapter, second chapter, retype that chapter, third chapter, retype that chapter, and I'm not sure how this is going to go. Usually it depends on flow and where I am. If the story is absolutely pouring out of me in that first draft, then I will just keep going until it kind of slows down, and then go backwards and retype, and then it will get flowing again, if you see. But I'm taking you along for the journey, so I'll talk about that day to day on how I'm doing it, and you'll be able to get to see that process. So this is day 0 of my 30-day writing challenge, and tomorrow I'm going to start writing, and I will literally go into Google Docs, put chapter 1, create a new document, and off I go and see how far I get. So I'll update you tomorrow where I get. It's taken us a while to come up with a title for this book, so I'll talk a little bit about that. It's going to be called Jigsaw Girl. The reason for that title, I hope, will become apparent through the story. So I've already commissioned the cover. I'm waiting for the very first mock-ups of that to come through to me. So once I have a cover and it's all been done, I'll share that with you too. I'm super excited to get that cover. I have booked in Stuart Bash or Stuart Bash. I can't remember how you pronounce his surname. I'm so sorry for murdering it. He works with Mark Dawson. So I saw Stuart at the SPS Live conference in London, and he did a cover live, and I just thought his covers were fantastic, so I emailed him. His website is bookscovered.com. It's not sponsored at all. That's just who I'm using to use my cover. So when I have a completed cover, I will share that with you. But yeah, so this is me, day 0, day before I write. Super excited to get the words on the page. I'm super excited to learn about Alex and his life, and the crime, and the poor jigsaw girl who's going to be murdered. Yeah, so if you're along for the journey with me, be sure to give this video a good thumbs up, give the notification bell a good old smash, and yeah, I will see you tomorrow after I have, fingers crossed, written 6,000 words, and I will tell you how it's gone. So yeah, see you then.